So if any of you guys are somewhat familiar with my channel, or you've been here for a while, or you've just watched a lot of my videos, whatever, you're probably familiar with the fact that about 4 months ago-ish, I don't remember exactly, I think it was November, I posted a video saying, meet my super tiny chameleon, and he was literally like this big. Probably familiar with that. It's been a little while since I've talked about my chameleon on my channel. If you follow me on Instagram or Twitter, you will definitely be more up to date with him. But if you are only following me on YouTube, or you're just watching this video, whatever, you probably might still think he's this big. Since it's been a while since my chameleon has been on my YouTube channel, I thought it would be pretty fun to just give an update, because I know a lot of people really enjoyed him, so I'm gonna update all you guys today. So just in case there are any of you who haven't watched that video before, I will link it here, but I will also just give like a little backstory on everything. So back in November, I got my first chameleon. He was a baby veiled chameleon. I had been wanting a chameleon for so long, but since chameleons are more advanced reptiles, I really did not rush into it. I really took my time to do all my research and make sure that I was fully prepared before I decided to get one. So after years of wanting one, I finally decided to get one back in November, and I made a video on it. I don't know where I was going with that. He was a very tiny little chameleon back then. I will insert a little picture or a clip or something of him over here of when I first got him. He was very small. After I posted that video, a lot of people like fell in love with him for a very good reason. He was so cute, as you can see by that picture. Things have changed since then. He is no longer the sweet little baby he used to be. He's still a sweet little baby though, but like he's not little. So all that being said, I guess it's time to give you guys an update and show you what he actually looks like now, because like if you haven't been following me on like my other social media, you will probably be shocked. He is so big now. Just so you know, these like red dots on my arm is because he was crawling on my arm earlier, and he has sharp nails, and this is the result. Oh yeah, just know I don't have a rash or the chicken pox or anything. This is simply just my chameleon's marks. So as you can see, he looks a lot different than when I got him. He has gotten so much bigger. I mean, just look at him, and his colors have obviously come out a lot. Just so much different now. Like, look at how big and beautiful he is. You're so pretty. So I am super happy about this because, as I said, chameleons are definitely not really a beginner animal. They're definitely more advanced. So even though I had done a lot of research and I felt ready, I was still nervous, because you just know like the nerves you get with a new pet. I was scared. Like, I knew I had done a lot of research and I was ready, but at the same time I was like, what if I'm not? Like, what if I don't know what I'm doing? But obviously that's not the case. So I am very happy to see how well he's been doing, because obviously, I mean, that shows that I must be doing something right. If he has gotten this big and this beautiful, and he is still so healthy, and he's just doing absolutely amazing, that clearly shows that whatever I've been doing is working pretty well for him. So if you know anything about chameleons, you may actually be shocked that I'm handling him right now. Now this may come as a shock, because the majority of male veiled chameleons are not that nice. They're not. A lot of male veiled chameleons do not like being held at all. They will bite, they do not tolerate it, they're typically just not animals that enjoy it at all and even like put up with it. So it is actually quite rare that he is this good with handling. Like, he does not mind it at all. I can touch him, I can touch his face. Like, he is so good with handling, which I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I got him so young and I handled him regularly, because that kept him used to being handled, whereas a lot of other male chameleons aren't as used to it, which is why that they end up being quite a bit more defensive than he is. I really think that I did something good by getting him so young and handling him regularly, because he has stayed very calm, which is probably a good thing in most people's eyes. As you can see, he is absolutely stunning. He is so pretty. His colors have come out so much as he's grown, and I am just so in love with him. He is such a vibrant green and yellow. He's beautiful. Some blue spots on him as trying to climb. He has blue spots on him as well. It's probably a little harder to see on camera, but they are there. Since they are arboreal animals who spend all of their time climbing in trees and on branches, they do have quite sharp nails and very strong hands because they do grip onto things, as you can see. So that is why I look like this after holding him. Like, look at me. This is just what you gotta deal with when it comes to owning animals. Sometimes you just gotta put up with this stuff. So now that I've shown him to you guys, I'm gonna put him back this plant in with me just so he has something to kind of climb on. I'm just gonna let him chill out on the plant back there for a bit because I don't want to hold him too much. I mean, look at me. So I'm just gonna let him hang out on the plant back there for a little bit while I talk to you guys a bit about him. So when I first got him, he was very small. So before I got him, I went out and I bought the cage and everything I need, and the cage I got was a 16 by 16 by 30 screen cage. I believe it's by Zoomed. It's the medium Zoomed Raptor Breeze. Yeah, that's what it was. So that was a really good size for him when he was very small, because when it comes to having baby animals, you usually don't want to put them in a very big enclosure because it can stress them out and it can be harder for them to find their food and stuff like that. So when you have a tiny animal, a tiny enclosure is better. He was in the 16 by 16 by 30, which is still actually like fairly large if you think about it. I would say I had him in there for about 2 months when I ended up upgrading. I definitely could have waited a little longer to upgrade, but I thought he would be fine. Like, he was still fairly small when I upgraded, but he was a very good hunter, so I thought he would be okay with the upgrade. So I went ahead and I ordered an extra large Raptor Breeze 2x2 by 4. Obviously it is taller rather than wide because chameleons like to climb, you know, they live in the trees. So that is what he is currently in now. It is still fairly big for him because he's still not full grown, but he uses all the room. He appreciates all the space he has. Technically a 2x2 by 4 is just fine for an adult. Like, he will still get bigger. He's not completely full grown yet, but he's getting there. But a 2x2 by 4 is definitely big enough for an adult, but I still may end up building him a bigger cage. It is really easy to actually build chameleons cages because you can use DIY cages. Are really easy for them because when you think about it, their cages are literally just made out of screen. You can go and just get like PVC pipes or like even just wooden rods or whatever and like build your frame and then cover it in screen. So it's really easy to build a chameleon cage. I would like to get him something around 6 feet tall, but I mean, that's just an idea, so don't quote me on that, but we'll see. We'll see. That's just kind of an idea in the back of my head. I don't even know if I have like the space for that right now, so we'll see. Either way, his 2x2 by 4 enclosure is big enough for his whole life. He will be just fine in there if I don't end up upgrading him, but I would really like to at some point. As I said, he has been doing really well since I got him. His enclosure is full of plants. I only have live plants in there. When I first got him, I did have some fake plants, but I quickly learned that they aren't the best, so I did switch over to all live plants, which is all he has now. And in case you're wondering, I will go and show you guys his enclosure in a bit so we can see that, but yeah, just for now we'll just talk about it and I'll show you later. So he does have all live plants. Now, I am a horrible plant person. I don't know the names of like anything. I know he has some pothos and there's some kind of palm. I'd literally, like, I don't know what this is called, but I do know they're all safe, just so you know that. Like, I always research the plant before I buy them. What are you doing? So obviously, like, there are some plants that aren't chameleon safe, so when you are adding live plants, you need to make sure they're safe. So don't worry, whenever I go to the store and I actually buy a plant, I always make sure it's safe before I buy it, but I usually just end up forgetting the name. But don't worry, I do make sure they're safe before I buy them. I'm not just buying random plants and throwing them in. I always make sure they're safe. That being said, his whole enclosure, his 2x2 by 4 enclosure is full of plants. There is like no empty spaces. It is very, very full. And I think it looks beautiful and he loves it because he has all these things to climb on and explore and hide in, so I think he really likes it. Now when it comes to lighting, I use just a pretty basic heat lamp. I believe I have a, God, I have to check it. I can't remember. I either have a 75 watt or a 100 watt heat bulb, just in the typical lamp, and that is obviously on the top of the enclosure, so that keeps the top warmer than the bottom. The bottom is around room temperature, where the top is much warmer. And now when it comes to chameleons, UVB lighting is so important for them. It is very, very important. I have a high output linear UVB bulb. I believe I have the Reptisun 2.0. Linear bulbs are always preferred for chameleons rather than like the coil ones, because the linear ones just have higher outputs usually and they cover more space, so they are way better than coiled bulbs for chameleons. Also just know this is not a care guide. I'm not doing like a full care guide right now by any means. I'm just kind of telling you what I've done to have success so far, because as you can see, I would say I've had quite a bit of success, like based on his growth and his health and everything. So I would definitely say I've had success, but this is not a care guide. I will do one in the future, but yeah, this is just talking about me. The good thing about chameleons is they're not very fast. You don't really have to worry about them running away. They'll just kind of slowly walk. So now that's just a little basic overview of what it looks like and my lighting. And then the last thing I guess I'll discuss quickly is his diet. He is the pickiest eater ever, which is not really ideal, because typically for all of my animals I like to have them on very high quality varied diets. So ideally I would have him eating multiple different kinds of insects, but no, he will only eat crickets. So when I first realized that he would only eat crickets, it was pretty concerning to me, because like I said, I like to have high quality varied diets, so I was slightly worried about this. Because of this, I went and I talked to some more experienced chameleon owners so that I could get advice from people who have had years of experience and stuff like that. And they told me that it should be okay. It obviously isn't ideal, but I can make it work as long as I am being responsible when it comes to feeding. Basically, they told me obviously the situation with him only eating crickets isn't ideal, but it's not the end of the world. As long as I'm feeding responsibly, I should be okay. So because of this, it is very important that his crickets are gut loaded always with a variety of different foods, which is something I do anyways. I gut load all of my feeders, so obviously I was already doing that, so that was okay. Always make sure his crickets are gut loaded, like freshly gut loaded, before I feed them to him. And then of course I also always supplement with his calcium and his vitamins, and I've had no issues so far. I was told basically as long as I'm keeping up on my gut loading and my supplementing, he should be just fine, even if he won't eat anything else. Maybe as he gets older and he gets a little bigger, he'll be more willing to take different foods, but as of right now he will only take crickets, and it sucks, but clearly he's still doing okay. I am always making sure I gut load them very well. I'm always making sure I give him the right supplements. I am very on top when it comes to his diet. So even though it's not the ideal situation, him only eating crickets, it is still working. And he's growing well, he's doing fine. His bone development has just been fun. He's never had any issues so far. So it's going well. I would say that it's going pretty well. And obviously his color is amazing. He is very healthy. He is very tame. He's just such a great chameleon, and I love him so much. You can see he is very calm. Like, it's just not that common for chameleons to be this good with handling, so I'm really happy. I love him. I mean, even if he didn't really like handling, I would still love him. I'm not a huge, I don't really care when it comes to animals being held and not being held. If they don't like it, that's okay with me. I get it. It's fine. Sorry, my furnace just turned on. You probably hear that. I'm sorry. I can't do anything about it, but he's amazing. All of this being said, let's go ahead and take a look at his enclosure now. So that was his enclosure. As you can see, it is very full of plants and it's big, it has lots of space, he loves it. I just wanted to give you guys a little update on him. I know he hasn't been on my channel in a while and a lot of you guys love him, so here you go. So anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like seeing my little friend. I hope you enjoyed Did you enjoy? Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and also be sure to check out all of my social media. I post pictures of him on there a lot. Everything is just MSAM99. It will be in the description below, but Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all the same, you know. So check that out. I would appreciate it. I would love to communicate with you guys on there. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video.